Now, UN Secretary General Antonio Guterres has described late Kofi Annan as an exceptional global leader with immense contributions the world will miss. The UN boss was amongst many high-profile dignitaries who were at the Accra International Conference Center to pay their last respects to the late former UN Secretary General. Earlier already, there are calls for some key institutions to be named after the illustrious son of the land. Maxwell Agwagwa has more in this report.
We shall all be free someday. Yes, we shall all be free. We shall all.
It was meant to be the celebration of the life of Kofi Annan, but the singer got many of the dignitaries at the Accra International Conference Center emotional with her song. In his tribute, the UN Secretary General Antonio Guterres stated the United Nations would continue to miss the great contribution of Kofi Annan to world peace.
Kofi Annan was both one of a kind and one of us. He was an exceptional global leader, and he was also someone virtually anyone in the world could see themselves in. Those on the far reaches of poverty, conflict and despair, who always found in him an ally. But his words were tough and wise, and sometimes the graver the situation, the lower that voice would get.
Mr. Annan's wife described her husband as a man who worked to solve global problems.
I always believed that his inner strength and sense of whole came from his deep roots here. And I want to thank Ghana for giving us such an extraordinary human being.
Inside the auditorium itself, we have Liberia's President George Weah in there. We also have Kenya's opposition leader Raila Odinga also in there. Of course, in 2007, Kofi Annan was in Kenya when that election disagreement was at its peak. It was Kofi Annan who was able to resolve that disagreement between Raila Odinga and then Mwai Kibaki at the time in 2007 when other high-profile politicians or dignitaries were unable to resolve it. Kofi Annan made sure he brought peace to Kenya. Today, Raila Odinga is in here to also pay his last respect. On the precincts of the Accra International Conference Center, all the flags here, I'm talking about the Ghana flags and then the United Nations flags, are flying at half-mast.
Son of the former Secretary General Kojo Annan says the world knew his dad as a former United Nations boss, but he was a father first. He says his family will miss him.
He was the man that you knew him as, kind, compassionate, caring, and all he cared about was other people, people's welfare, the welfare of the people that had the least. He cared most about, and about equality, humanity, justice, and decency. It's a loss that can't be ever replaced.
And before I'll be a slave, I'll be buried in my grave and go home to my Lord and be free.
Ranking Member of Parliament's Committee on Foreign Affairs and North Tongue Member of Parliament Samuel Okujeto Ablakwa wants the Ministry of Foreign Affairs building to be named after Kofi Annan.
We must, as a people, resolve to follow this legacy and to make sure that the torch which he lit when he was alive, that torch will continue to be aflame. We have also proposed as a minority that it would be great to name the building that hosts our foreign ministry after Kofi Annan, because he's the diplomat's diplomat, and the building that represents Ghanaian diplomacy should be named after him.
of Ghana's former presidents were present at the Accra International Conference Center for the funeral service. We've been speaking to former President Mahama, who has described Kofi Annan as a man of peace. He's urging all Ghanaians to emulate the life that he lived.
All bask in his glory. He rose to the top of an international organization, the United Nations. And all of us in Ghana and Africa are proud of him.
What lessons can we draw from his life here on earth?
His humility, his modesty, his respect.
We shall overcome. We shall overcome someday. Oh, deep in my heart, I do believe we shall overcome someday.
And may his soul rest in perfect peace. We're taking a short break here, but here are some memorable pictures from the funeral. You're welcome back. Now, the Public Utilities and Regulatory Commission has slashed Ghana Water Company's tariffs by 10%, with further orders for the company to refund nearly 15 million cedis to customers for collecting tariffs they did not deserve. In the last few hours, top officials at the water company have been summoned into an emergency meeting in a desperate attempt to come up with a plan to stop the order from coming into force in 3 days' time. That is this coming Sunday. Well, I'm joined in the studio by Bawa Munkaila, who is the head of Public Relations and External Affairs at the PURC, for further explanations on this particular matter. Many thanks for your time, Bawa.
Thank you very much.
Okay, so we do understand the Commission has been investigating the water company on this issue for quite a while before it arrived at this decision. What's the background to this decision to impose this sanction, which obviously would inure to the benefit of the consumer?
Thank you once again, and good evening to your cherished viewers across the world. Yes, PURC issued an order to Ghana Water Company Limited based on the fact that they were supposed to be operating one of their their water production plants that they are not operating.
Right.
And what happens is that before PURC comes up with tariff, we ask the utility providers to submit proposals, and these proposals consist of the capacity charges of their generation plants or their production centers. So after receiving these proposals from the various utilities, then we now factor in that into the tariffs.
Right.
So when we asked Ghana Water to submit a proposal for the July 2018 tariff that we just passed for Ghana Water, they included the cost of operating the desalination plant in Teshi.
Okay.
But our monitoring from the beginning of the time we approved the tariff till date, we realized that the plant has not been in operational. So that is why we have issued this sanction today.
But have you had any explanations from the water company itself on why they are unable to operate the plant?
Initially, Ghana Water itself issued a statement. We saw a publication on Daily Graphic saying that the plant has been operations of the plant has been halted, and we asked them, if you are halting the plant, which was factored in the cost of production of water to the average Ghanaian, and you are halting it, why don't you get back to PURC to inform us that you were halting it? So we've been sending letters upon letters to and from Ghana Water Company. Even beside the letters, we've had meetings with them, and they tried giving explanations that they shut it down because of the issue of renegotiation of the capacity charge. We said, fine, if you are still renegotiating the capacity charge, then the average consumer should not be paying for the cost of water produced from that plant.
Right.
So that is why PURC said no. So in that case, if the plant is still being shut whilst you renegotiate your capacity charges, then we would also take off that cost, the component of the desalination plant cost in the tariff, so that consumers will not be burdened with what they don't consume.
So what's the total cost of the compensation that will inure to the consumer?
The total cost of operating the desalination plant is the 8.64%.
Okay.
And that is what Ghana Water is forfeiting in the current tariff.
Okay.
But the 10%, as mentioned on our release, composed of three components.
Right.
One is Ghana Water forfeiting the cost of operating the desalination plant.
Right.
Two is a payback, a refund to customers from 15th July 2018 to date, what customers have paid for that they are not enjoying.
Right.
And that one is amounting to about 15 million Ghana cedis. That's the 14.0 something Ghana cedis.
Okay.
And then also we are saying that Ghana Water, you were taking money that did not due you because it was for the cost of producing something and you were not producing that. So keeping consumers' money for a period of time, definitely the value of the money might have reduced.
Right.
So you need to compensate consumers.
Okay.
And that
How
is
do
the
consumers
0.3.
directly benefit from this?
Yeah, they directly benefit through the 10.08% reduction. And the 10.08% reduction, when you receive your bill, the amount charged or the charge per cubic meter for water produced or served you in the house, the charges will be reduced by the 10.08%.
We do understand that officials of the Ghana Water Company are still in a meeting on this particular matter, and what they're doing is trying to, appeal to the PURC not to enforce this. You've given them up until Sunday. Is this realistic?
It is very realistic. When PURC comes up with a decision, we go through a series of process before coming up with that decision. Ghana Water, like I mentioned earlier, we've had several meetings with them. We've had letters exchanging between PURC and Ghana Water about this particular issue. So before we came to this directive, we have exhausted every step that needs to be done.
Okay.
And Ghana Water is very aware of the process that we went through.
Right. So you're saying this tariff reduction is effective September 16th, which is this coming Sunday, and will remain in effect until the desalination plant is back in operation.
Exactly.
If that doesn't happen, what happens?
Yeah, until PURC has plans of reviewing tariff in December this year, because the tariff that was reviewed beginning of 2018 was just for 1 year.
Right.
Why? Because electricity, we are having a concessionaire coming in. So there are some dynamics that would change. The major parameters would change. So we did the tariff for only 1 year. And you know, electricity forms a major part of producing water. So definitely water tariff would also be shifted or would also be done for that 1 year. So we have plans in reviewing tariff the following year, which is 2019. This sanction that has been given to Ghana Water is to recover the money they've collected from customers and to also reduce the cost, reduce the tariff by the cost component of the desalination plant. And by reducing that, when we get to the major tariff review, which is going to be January 2019, definitely we wouldn't include it again.
Okay, all right. Thank you so much. And that's Bao Munkaila. He speaks for the Public Utilities Regulatory Commission. We've tried to reach the Ghana Water Company. They've declined comment for now, but what they do tell us is that they're still meeting on the matter and will respond at the appropriate time. But we've also been speaking to former Deputy Works and Housing Minister in the previous administration, Samson Ahi, on this particular matter. Take a listen.
I commend PURC for a good job done, and also to say that Ghana Water Company, by their action, have cheated ordinary consumers. But that is stealing. They lied to PURC to be able to steal from ordinary consumers, and it is rather unfortunate. I want Ghana Water Company in January, when they decided to shut down the desalination plant in Teshi, because from the look of things, what they have done, they lied to PLC that they were going to operate the plant, and so PLC granted the cost of maintenance, the cost of running the plant as part of the tariff, only to know or later to find out that actually the plant is not being operated. And so taking those monies from ordinary consumers is just nothing but stealing. And for that matter, I think that management of Ghana Water Company, and for that matter, the Afenyomakin-led board should be charged if any financial loss is occurred by Ghana Water Company, because this situation is as a result of their indecision. And so I don't think that Ghana Water Company should be made to suffer. Management of Ghana Water Company have stolen money. They lied to a public institution such as PRC. And that's how we find ourselves here.
So you want the board chairman and the MD to take the cost. They should personally take the cost.
Yes, they should be surcharged.
Now, hundreds of customers of the Kantamanto branch of the UniCredit Savings and Loans today besieged premises of the bank to withdraw their deposits after word went round that the bank had run out of cash. The angry customers, most of whom are traders, say they have saved up to 400 million Ghana cedis and desperately need these monies for their businesses and their upkeep. Ifwa Evans Chinnery visited that branch and has come through with this report.
Here at the Kantamanto branch of the UniCredit Savings and Loans, the people you see behind me have gathered here to withdraw all their monies after management told them the bank has run out of cash. Most of these people, some of whom are traders, say they have saved up to 400 million Ghana cedis and desperately need the money to continue their businesses. I'll be speaking to some of them to find out exactly what has been happening, why they're here, at what time they got here, and what management has been telling them at the bank. These angry customers in this queue say they will not leave until they withdraw all their monies after management here said the bank had run out of cash. Eric Bwampo, a trader, has saved up to 7,700 Ghana cedis. Here are the UniCredit Savings and Loans. He went to withdraw 2,000 Ghana cedis last Monday, but he was told that he would be giving just 300 Ghana cedis because there was no money available. Eric tells me he got here at 8 a.m. today only to be told the same story.
I got here at 8 a.m. this morning. I was told there was no money. When we demanded our money, management told us they can only give us a little of the money that we really needed.
Some traders who spoke to Join You say they urgently need their monies to pay their children's school fees and buy more goods for their businesses.
I have saved 40 million Ghana cedis here. I have been given just 500 Ghana cedis. My goods have arrived and I need to clear them, but I have no money.
And I just 7:30. And I'm one because I'm much. The day me and say Monday, you buy and what catch so you enter about treno. Next can be a day about no much amount.
I was here last night, but I was only told there was no money. So we had to wait for hours only for us to be told to leave because there was no money available. We desperately need this money to pay our children's school fees and buy more goods.
My it's not has something. No, I feel more coffee, much mess be beguha. No, obviously, I'm going to copper the other day.
I came here last week and they were able to give me 500. And
how much money do you have saved here?
It was 1,900, and they were able to give me 500. And then last Monday too, I came for the rest of the money. I came here several times, but I couldn't get it. So I'm here to take the other, but because of the queue, I don't know whether I will get it or not.
Joint News checks at the time revealed the company was only able to serve just 6 customers. The rest, who had been standing in the scorching sun for hours, were asked by security personnel to leave as there was no more money available.
And stay with us because we'll bring you more on this developing story with business when Emmanuel Abuajiriafe joins you after this break.
Hello again, good evening to you. Welcome to Business. Now, savings and loans company UniCredit is assuring customers their deposits are safe and that the company is not going down. This was after the company was hit by a series of panic withdrawals over fears of collapsing soon. Eric Selby is head of marketing and corporate communications at UniCredit.
Over the past, I think 4 weeks, we have witnessed some changes in the industry generally. And with the announcement of the consolidation of Unibank, which is a sister bank of ours, there was a rumors in the market that once Unibank has gone down, certainly it's going to affect depositors' funds with UniCredit. So that created a bit of a panic in the system for us at UniCredit. So customers really rushed to come for their funds deposited with us over the past 2 to 3 weeks that we have been around. And of course, naturally, when that happens, it's going to create a lot of stress in the system, both for the bank itself and for our customers. So it's not something that is normal to us as a business. It's not something that we do all the time. That is not part of our model. But unfortunately, it's due to the panic withdrawals where everybody else wants to withdraw his cash. And definitely, once that happens, you and I know that for the bank, when the money comes in, the money also goes to work. So it creates a lot of problems in meeting the demands of all the customers at the same time. So what we are seeing is just as a result of the rumors that is going around that because Unibank has gone down, UniCredit, which is also associated with Unibank, will also go down.
What is your liquidity position right now? Are you that lucky? Because the report or the speculations were that most of your funds were placed with Unibank. And definitely, if Unibank has gone down, and if most of these funds were placed with several investment products and all the rest, with respect to what is happening, you can't get these monies, and that is why you are struggling.
Certainly, I mean, if no matter how liquid a bank is, if all your customers come at the same time to withdraw their funds, it will definitely be difficult for you to meet their demands. So what we are saying about for the panic, we have been operating normally even since the Unibank issue started. We've met the demands of our customers, both in terms of their normal withdrawals, in terms of advances, in terms of loans. But once everybody comes and wants to withdraw his money, it doesn't matter how much money you want to keep in your vault. And because all these monies are also not sitting there, they have also gone to work, some of these stresses are expected. But like I explained to you, because of what is happening, the management is actually on the beat to ensure that we avoid some of these delays at the bank hall. In any case, it's not that we are not paying, but because it's bringing a lot of rush into our banking halls, that is what is creating the problem that we have.
Let's still stay further in the financial sector. Public Relations Officer of Menzgold Ghana, George Quay, says the company would now work with the Securities and Exchange Commission to quickly resolve the ongoing controversy between the regulator and the gold dealership firm. Menzgold has temporarily put on hold its gold dealership business until September 19 in compliance with the SEC's directive.
You cannot rush organizations like the Securities and Exchange Commission or the Bank of Ghana or any of the organizations that do this sort of due diligence. You cannot rush them. I think it is only fair that we all give them time to be able to do everything that they are doing, whatever the documents they require from us. It would be in our interest to cooperate with them, you know, amicably and very swiftly so that we can resolve this little quandary as well. And we've been cooperative, and that is why we found the leak of the document rather unfortunate, because we have been very cooperative all along. And so we cannot be the ones to state the timelines, but all I can say for sure is that we will do our best to provide all necessary documents that they will require. We have been cooperative, our doors have always been open and will continue to be open. And when all parties are satisfied, I'm sure that we would all be happy and business will proceed as planned, as it should.
Okay, so trying to do your best, how do you intend to resolve this?
It is not about how we intend to resolve it. It is about what the Securities and Exchange Commission is working at. They are doing their work, which we all appreciate. And as I stated earlier, we are willing to cooperate. So once they are satisfied with everything they've required of us, once they are satisfied with everything that we've done, if they are fine and we are also fine, then I'm sure at that point we will all confidently say that, yes, this matter has also been resolved. Because as a law-abiding organization, we are ready and willing to go under any organization that we ought to go under, be it the Securities and Exchange Commission, be it the Bank of Ghana, be it whoever. All we always ask is that just show us what the law says. Just show us the reasons why, you know, Menzgold ought to be under you. Because the organization cannot run in isolation. You're operating in Ghana, so there are laws. If there are laws and the laws insist that you do this and that, I'm sure the management and leadership of the organization are ready and willing to submit themselves to whatever regulations are available. So it is not about what is being done. It is about what has been asked of us. It is about what the legal partners are also doing to ensure that we arrive at an amicable solution to this little quandary. It is again just very unfortunate that the document leaked to the public. Otherwise, I'm sure this would have been resolved in no time.
So for you, you're working, your dealings are genuine and you have no problem whatsoever with the Securities and Exchange Commission or government in no way. All you want to do or all you want to find out is clear directives as to where you fall.
Exactly. And whatever directives are issued at us, once our legal partners review it and realize that, yes, according to the law, this is right and that is right and that is right, we would all roll with it.
Now, some key stakeholders are brainstorming solutions to the current challenges facing the Ghana city at the Joy FM City Forum, which is ongoing at the City Center Economics Department of the University of Ghana. We'll now cross over to that place for some excerpts of the forum.
Well, the time is, how can we help you? First National Bank is supporting our wonderful event here today. And I'm coming straight to the panel once more. I will come to Dr. Priscilla Chumesi-Boafo. Doc, the understanding of what's happening here is that there's a problem that the Bank of Ghana says is under control and they are fixing it. The question I want to ask you right now is whether or not you think the solutions they are proffering today are the solutions that we need first, whether they are going to work, and thirdly, whether they are going to prevent a recurrence of the problem anytime soon.
Thank you, Raymond. I believe that in terms of the solutions that the Bank of Ghana has proposed or is undertaking, it's in the right direction in the short run. Right? Because we know that some of the challenges we are facing are not within our remit, is external. But the bottom line is that there is the need for us to look at the structure of our economy. We need to face the productive sector. We know that evidence on structural transformation of all countries shows that no country has developed with the way we are doing things. There is a trajectory for development for all countries. The expectation is that as we move on in development, will move from an agrarian base into a manufacturing and industrial base, and then later into services. The challenge that we face, which also has got to do with, large unemployment issues, youth unemployment issues, is that we seem to be moving from agriculture and focusing on services. Services are not labor-intensive activities. So when Dr. Obeng mentioned, he said that our economy, it is services that is driving, and also the extractive sector. The point is that, to a lay person, why are we on a solid track in terms of low inflation rate, are quite on a good track, not too high. We are on a good growth path. We have a positive trade balance, but our currency is depreciating. That tells us that in principle, for example, if foreigners are dominating the extractive sector, we know that, when they earn incomes, receipts abroad, the receipt will enter our books as, receipts from exports. But the problem is whether those receipts will actually come back into Ghana. That's another question altogether, because our investment laws allow them to retain some of their earnings abroad. So if foreigners earn huge sums of foreign currency based on our exports, for example, with the extractive sector, and they decide to plow back their earnings, we are left vulnerable. So these are issues that we need to tackle the fundamentals, which is go back to basic, start, add some value to our agricultural produce, create employment, and also feed ourselves domestically, and import the necessary goods and services that we cannot obviously produce. No country is an island, but the way we are going at it with the high import dependency, I think that if we don't tackle the issues, we will always be talking about this.
Yes, so that question is what I'm actually asking you directly at this point. Are we having the solutions we think we should have immediately, now?
All right, so we shall be sampling the views of other speakers at the CD Forum at the City Center at the University of Ghana, Legon, in our subsequent bulletins. And that's it for Business Tonight. Many thanks for watching. My name is Emmanuel Apwaji. Have a good evening.
Now, submerged farmlands, rotten produce, and dejected farmers counting their losses with no hope. That's the current situation in the Upper East region after floods destroyed farms along the wide Volta Basin almost 2 weeks after Burkinabe authorities started spilling excess water from the Bagre Dam. Deputy Minister for Food and Agriculture, Dr. Sagre Bambani, who has been on a tour of that region to assess the impact of the floods, has revealed that it is the worst disaster since 2007. Joy News Upper East correspondent Al Besori has more.
Acres of farmlands of rice, maize, beans, potatoes and many other crops have been lost to floods almost 2 weeks after authorities in Burkina Faso started spilling excess water from the Bagre Dam. The worst affected areas include Doba in the Kasna Nankana municipality, Bazua, Kobori and Yarigu in the Boko West district, Pualugu in the Talense district, and other areas in the Bulsa North and South districts. Some of the farmers in these areas have lost all their farms and have no way of recovering the investments they made at the beginning of the farming season.
This time it went shoulder high and the plants are almost withered. So some may pick up, but it will take a long time for them to pick up. And the fertilizer we have put in is all wasted.
We lost our rice, granite, maize, this our guinea corn, beans, so many crops that we've lost. So in fact we are really very, very sad.
I'm farming about 30 acres of mango. I did about 30 acres of Wandata, and right now if you go there, the water has been able to travel and taking half of the farm. The government is doing its best by providing us subsidized fertilizer and giving us seed to plant. Then after that, maybe when we sell the seed, back to the government. Then they will deduct the cost of what they have given us.
Officials of the Ministry of Food and Agriculture in the Upper East region have been speaking to Joy News on the extent of devastation since the spilling of excess water from the Bagre Dam started.
For the total region, we have rice, an estimated area of 954.4 hectares have been completely destroyed by the flood. And maize is 4,598 hectares. Number of communities that have been affected by this flood in the 9 districts that we are talking of are 65 communities.
Even if a farmer is going to make an average of, let's say, 6 bags per acre, that is even the least. If a farmer is going to make that, multiply that by 900 and multiply it by 2.5, you will see the deficit that we are getting.
Deputy Minister for Food and Agriculture, Dr. Sagre Babangi, has been on a tour of the affected areas in the Upper East region to assess the situation and to encourage the affected farmers. The Deputy Agric Minister also had this response to the calls on government to construct a multi-purpose dam which can always drain the flood waters around the White Volta Basin.
It was still at feasibility studies stage, and so the ministry is going to continue with these studies and also go for a design. It is after the design that funding can then be sought for.
It is unclear for now if the Bagre Dam is still being spilled, but rainfalls have generally increased in the northern parts of Ghana in the last 2 weeks, further compounding the problem of floods and heightening fears that there could be food shortages in the coming year due to the destruction caused by the floods. For Joy News, Albert Sori, reporting from Bolgatanga.
And here in Accra, I'm Arba Kumsin. This is Joy News Prime. Keep watching because Showbiz is up next. Here are a recap of our headlines. Now, the Public Utilities Regulatory Commission has slashed the Ghana Water Company tariffs by 10%, with further orders for the water company to refund nearly 15 million cedis to customers for collecting tariffs they did not deserve. Former UN Secretary General Kofi Annan laid to rest with full military honors. Menzgold Company Limited backs down on its earlier defiant posture against the Securities and Exchange Commission as it announces shutdown of its Volta market product services temporarily. Hundreds of customers besieged UniCredit savings and loans to withdraw their monies after word went round the bank has run out of cash. In business, UniCredit assures customers their funds are safe after being hit by a series of panic withdrawals over the week. In submerged farmlands, rotten produce and dejected farmers count their losses with no hope as the impact of the Bagre Dam spillage bites hard. You're welcome back. Now, with banks collapsing, savings and loans companies folding up, and some financial institutions facing liquidity challenges, it's apt to say we are in a financial crisis. News of panic withdrawals at financial institutions is also worsening the situation. So how do we restore public confidence in financial institutions? Well, Director of Business Operations at Dalex Finance, Joe Jackson, is here for us to dig deeper into this issue. Many thanks for your time.
Thank you. Good to be here.
All right. Now, so how is business treating you? You're a businessman. Tell me, given the climate we're in right now, how is business treating you?
Actually, to be honest with you, quite well. Now, what we have to realize is that the market is punishing the financial institutions that they perceive not to be prudent or in trouble, and actually simultaneously rewarding those that are supposedly, or they perceive to be prudent and doing the right thing. So you will find that it's the best of times and the worst of times in the financial sector. If you are perceived as prudent, it could actually be the best of times.
I see.
And if you are perceived as
it's surprising you say that, you know, you can see it from two perspectives, either the best of times or the worst of times. But I mean, the general sentiment is that we are in a decline. I mean, the environment is not the best for us. It's making people tighten their belts, if you like. So how is it the best of times? Explain that first.
Okay, now what happens is this. For every financial institution, we're in competition for deposits. Right? Now what's happening is that a lot of the customers, the clients, are taking their deposits away from institutions that are perceived to be risky and moving them to institutions that
are safer.
Aha.
Okay.
So if there's a divide.
Right.
If you're on the right side of the divide, the best of times. If you're on the wrong side of the divide, the worst of times.
Then let me ask you, a lot of customers are removing their deposits from the local banks. Would you say that they are now depositing it in the internationally based banks?
I would say two things. One, broadly, you're right. But at the same time, the local institutions that are perceived to be prudent are getting business.
Okay.
So you can't generalize it. There are some local institutions that are perceived to be prudent and doing the right thing. Those are also benefiting from the general sentiment. But yet, at the same time, I want to sound a strong note of caution. The glue that holds the financial system together is trust. That's what really keeps everybody together. Now, if you have a situation where that trust is broken, even though it may start at the edges and may start with the institutions that are perceived at risk, it could actually spread and become a general failure. So one of the things that we've got to do is immediately arrest the situation with the institutions that are facing a run on deposits.
Is that what government is doing right now? The measures that the Bank of Ghana, the central bank, is taking is aimed at addressing or arresting the situation at hand?
There are two sides to it. One side is that generally the central bank is addressing very broadly the issues that are with the banks that are either insolvent or badly run, etc. But we have to ask a question. Take UniCredit. For better or for worse, the central bank has not come out to say that they are insolvent, right? If they haven't come out to say they are insolvent, shouldn't someone have anticipated that in view of their relationship with Unibank, that they were going to face this sort of pressure? And should stronger steps not have been taken to assist them with liquidity?
All these are very valid questions. Be that as it may, we are at the point we are at now. There are people who have panicked. They are withdrawing their monies from these local banks. How do we restore public confidence in these local financial institutions?
Listen, the first thing is you've got to pay. Everybody who comes to withdraw his money has to be paid. You restore confidence.
But how do you pay them when you don't have the cash?
But that's why there's a central bank. And that's why the central bank has so much power to step in if things are going wrong. Right now, things are going wrong. And the first thing you do is start to pay the deposits. If it's X millions that UniCredit needs, send the money there.
So the central bank should be injecting more money into the system.
Definitely.
Okay, to arrest the situation. What about these small businesses, the savings and loans companies that we're seeing coming up? Many say that they are not properly regulated. Are they part of the problem?
Listen, the whole financial sector is sick. It starts with the banks, but you will find the same virus, the same illness infecting savings and loans, infecting rural banks, infecting non-bank financial institutions. So, listen, there's a malaise that affects, and this that affects the whole financial institution sector.
Right.
So right now, if there's a run, the central bank should step in.
Okay. So the financial system is sick. The panacea to that is to inject more cash into the system.
To arrest
the situation
the panic
at hand.
Withdrawal. It will cease to be a panic if you go and get your money. And if you hold your money for a couple of days and you see everybody goes and gets his money, what would happen?
How long do you think that it will take for us to get back on our feet?
It will take a long time.
And where long means what?
I would say at least a year.
At least a year.
At least a year. And one of the things also that should be done is those institutions that are deemed insolvent, action must be taken promptly. The more you drag this issue out, the more rumors and conjecture take place and panic people.
But the Bank of Ghana says it is taking action, but it is doing so within the remits of the law. It can't just, get up and just, slap sanctions or, prosecute those who have been sanctioned.
That's not what we're talking about. Nia.
Right.
What we're saying is that if an institution is not insolvent, step in early.
Okay.
Stop the run.
Okay.
Stop the rot. If you determine an institution is insolvent, take it over.
That will require them stepping up their supervisory role.
Definitely.
All right. All right.
Definitely. And you've got to realize that even those institutions that are not facing a run on deposits are feeling very uncomfortable with what is happening because that panic could spread easily.
Very well. Thank you so much for your time and for shedding some light on this particular issue. And I was speaking with Joe Jackson of Daylex Finance. Many thanks for your time once again, sir. And moving on, Menzgold Company Limited has backed down on its earlier defiant posture against the Securities and Exchange Commission, which ordered the company to cease operating in gold collectibles. The commission on Wednesday gave the directive explaining Menzgold had breached the regulator's requirements, a claim the company denies. Menzgold last night issued another statement announcing shutdown of its Volta market product services temporarily. We'll bring you details of the latest letter the company has written to the commission shortly. But first, customers continue to besiege their premises. There's more in this report.
The East Legon branch of Menzgold, customers numbering about 40 to 50 gathered at the premises to either withdraw their monies or seek clarification. Most of them who spoke to Joy News off the record noted they had confidence in the operations of the gold trading company. Others threatened to come for their funds after the stipulated 6 days if the situation remains the same. Meanwhile, the story at the Kaneshi branch was not different, as the customers had besieged the office to withdraw their funds. But there were other customers who were there solely to solidarize with the company. Some customers even tried convincing others not to withdraw their funds.
Just keep calm.
After the confusion, the manager of the facility came out to reassure customers their monies were safe.
They have given us a notice that we should vote or wait till on the 19th to verify everything for us. So that is 6 days. Today is 13th. So 19th, you will hear from them. And as I'm talking to you now, they are on it, yes, negotiating, sitting down, solving things. What if 19 comes? There is no show. No. They have They have given us. Yes. And when 19th come and he said, no, you people should stop. The best thing is to give him the people's money by.
Now, as we indicated earlier, the Securities and Exchange Commission ordered Menzgold to shut down aspects of its operations on suspicion it had not complied with regulatory requirements. Menzgold fought back, insisting it will remain open for business, but it has backed down on its earlier posture as it issued another statement announcing shutdown of its Volta market product services temporarily. Earlier Thursday, it issued another letter addressed to the Commission requesting a meeting. So here are details, and it is signed by a lawyer for Menzgold. Kwame Kofi says, "Dear Sir, RE notice to suspend trading without license. We act for Menzgold Ghana Limited, our client. This is further to our letter of yesterday, the 12th of September 2018, in respect of the above mention, in which we informed you of the difficulties associated with an immediate shutdown of our client's operations. In the interim period, we write to respectfully request for a meeting within the coming week to resolve this impasse. It's important that this is done with some alacrity to ensure that the affairs of our client and its customers are kept in proper stead. We must reiterate the point that our client is not engaged in any capital market activity. This letter is without prejudice to the rights of our client. We trust that you will find this letter useful." Thank you. And like I indicated, it's signed by their lawyer, Kwame Kofi. We've been speaking to the lawyer, Mr. Kofi, who insists the company's operations are not regulated by any law in the country.
Look at the Bank of Ghana, at the Banking and Specialized Deposit Taking Act, and you look at the Securities and Exchange, the Securities Industries Act. There is a provision which says that the regulators are entitled to prescribe regulation for any other business model that arises or as they find fit. So when there is legislative omission, you don't come and blame Menzgold. Our business is not regulated by the law. And we are not regulated by the Securities Exchange Commission. We are not regulated by the Bank of Ghana. It is a formidable, innovative product that has been put out there. We have never shied away from asking the Republic through its regulators to set up legislative instruments which can regulate that. This is a market economy. People are entitled to use their ingenuity, their intelligence to come up with innovative products. But we don't cripple in ingenuity. Has the Bank of Ghana sanctioned us? Has the Bank of Ghana ever said that there are sanctions against us for deposit taking? Under the Bank of Ghana law, deposit taking is receiving money. We don't receive money. So the factual predicate of the Bank of Ghana is completely wrong. We have said so on many occasions, we'll continue to say so. If the Bank of Ghana was proper, was correct, was accurate, we wouldn't have the Securities Exchange Commission doing this. If you have regard to history of the Republic, you will have seen that the Bank of Ghana's arguments in the past is not what we are acting on now. We shall put you on notice that somehow or rather the regulators, faced with their own legislative omissions, are stretching language, trying to get some implied power to be able to deal with an innovative product. This is an innovative product in your face. What happens to customers in the face of this is that we have decided that we're going to have a meeting with the regulator next week. We said yesterday in our letter that we're asking them to show us which part of the law we fit into. We don't have a problem with being regulated. The law allows them to pass. Let me say this to you. If you look at Section 109, the framers of the law knew that innovative products will come onto the market which will not have regulation. And that is why it gives them the power to regulate it. But it does not give them the power to stretch existing legislation to cover things which have not yet been regulated. The law itself, if you look at Section 109, you look at Section 4 and Section 6 of the Banks and Specialized Deposit Act, Act 930, it makes room for things which will come up which are not yet regulated. So say to Bank of Ghana and the Securities Exchange Commission to do their work. Don't blame young men who are trying to use their ingenuity and intelligence to set up economic ventures. You don't do that.
In a related development, the East Legon Police has formally begun investigations into the alleged assault of multimedia and TV3 reporters by officials of Menzgold. The two were manhandled as they tried to get reactions to the directive to the gold dealership company to cease gold trading activities by the Securities and Exchange Commission. Joy News reporter Karen Dodu and a pregnant TV3 journalist, Nana Ekia Mensa Abrampoma, were confronted by the workers in suit and tie. The TV3 reporter, Nanekia, sporting a bump, tried to resist the aggression in the charge exchanges. She began complaining about pain in her abdomen and was left by the workers. Well, Karen joins me in the studio now. Karen, tell me exactly what happened.
So Araba, yesterday, that's Wednesday, at around 11:30, we went there to see if we could get management to speak on the matter. So I went there, I met Nanekia there. Nanekia told me that all efforts to get them to speak had proven futile. So we said, okay, let's try and see if we'll get to speak to some of the customers. So at the other moment, we saw one lady who was willing to talk to us, but off record, just to tell us what was going on inside there. So just then, a gentleman in a black car just drove there and started insulting us and telling us that we were the cause of everything happening at Menzgold, and our reportage was killing the company, and we didn't mind him. Then he went into the company. So just 5 minutes after that, we saw 3 gentlemen in suit and in a Menzgold branded tie come out to us, and they ordered us to stop taking shots of the building. Then we told them we hadn't taken shots of the building. And then this guy hits my right shoulder and then snatches my 2 phones and the Joy Business branded microphone. Then I ordered him to give me back the phone because it was my personal phone. And he told me no, I had no right to take shots of the building, and I have to delete every shot I have. And I said I had no shots of it. And funny enough, my recorder was on, so everything going on was being picked, was recording. So then they wanted to attack Nanekia and also take her phone, and she told them she was pregnant. And one guy even said, and so what?
Wow.
One guy said, and so what? But later they left her, and then this gentleman was still being fiscal with me. I kept on telling him, give me my phone, it's my personal phone. He said, no, you don't have to take shots of our building. If you want anything, come inside. I said, if you're ready to talk to us, I'll come inside with my cameraman. And then this man grabs me by the fist on my left and then crosses the road with me forcefully. We were outside our premises, way outside our premises. So then we get inside, and he still has one phone. I managed to get one phone. He still has the other one. I had to struggle with him inside there. Some customers were joining him. They were just hooting at me, saying that we were the cause of Menzgold crashing. Others were also pleading with the gentleman to have mercy on me as a lady. So that was when I realized the man was taken aback, and I leveraged on that to snatch my other phone. Then one of their managers stepped in, and then she managed to tame the crowd. Then they took me back to the office.
Karen, hold on, because Ebenezer Sabate, also of our business desk, was also attacked earlier today at one of the company's Jolu branch, which has been, and he's been narrating his ordeal. Listen. Okay, we don't have that sound now. We'll bring it to you in our subsequent bulletins. But Karen, the police, we know, are investigating this matter. Tell us about it.
Yes, Araba. So today I formally lodged a complaint at the East Legon police station, and we start investigations into it. So we visited Menzgold, and tomorrow we're going there to fish out the staff who manhandled me. What you're saying is that they don't know who did it. And so I should be the one.
So is it going to be like a sort of identification parade?
Exactly. All staff members there, and then I pick out who was responsible for the manhandling.
Okay, so for now, they have not charged anybody?
They haven't charged anybody yet.
Okay, we wait to see the outcome of tomorrow's action. Thank you very much. Karen Dodo is with our business desk. And moving on, lives of travelers on the Dambai Road in the Karachi East municipality of the Volta region are threatened as portions of the Asankrigwa mountains continue to fall off. A recent mudslide along the mountain left a huge rock sitting in the middle of the stretch with very little sand holding its base. Motorists on the route, which serves as a major haulage for farm produce, say the position of the rock endangers their lives, hence appeal to the Ghana Highway authorities to clear it within the shortest possible time. Fred Kwame Asari visited the site and has come through with this report.
About a month ago, torrential rains in the Karachi East municipality burst open the Isukwakwa Mountains along the Dambai Road, causing a huge mudslide. The mudslide, which contained rocks, blocked the road, preventing traffic flow. The municipal chief executive, Patrick Gilema, and the member of parliament, Michael Jato, took steps to clear off some of the debris to create a narrow passage for traffic flow. However, the team clearing the road left site without completing the job. The Ghana Private Road Transport Chairman in Dambai, Moro Sanda, catalogs dangers in using the stretch.
We are suffering on the stretch. We are pleading with government to clear off the road for us. If nothing is done, a disaster may occur. The MP and DC did their part, but there is more to be done. So we are pleading with government to take a look at the stretch for us.
Currently, there is a huge rock hanging with very little sand holding its base. Portions of the mountain continue to be washed off as water is seen streaming down the mountain. Motorists fear the unfortunate may happen if authorities continue to look on unconcerned.
The authorities told us officials from Accra will come to clear off the rock, but nothing has been done. A different section of the mountain is falling off, and we fear the unfortunate may happen. Government must come in and work on the stretch to prevent any unfortunate incident from occurring.
They say another place in so Asan another place Asan because a baby to be bonnet and sana.
Fred Kwame Saris reports for Joy News. Now, Director of the Advanced Body Sculpt Center, Benfo Hospital, Dominic Obeng Ando, has rubbished claims by the Ghana Medical and Dental Council that his license has been revoked. The council has said that Dr. Obeng Ando was operating illegally at the time. Deputy Chief Executive Officer of the National Entrepreneurship Innovation Program, Stacey Ofei-Darko, died at his facility, but Dr. Obeng Ando says he was put on the permanent register of practitioners by the Medical and Dental Council in 2000 after completing his house job and therefore could not have operated illegally. Dr. Obeng Ando spoke for the first time on sister station Asempa FM. Here are excerpts.
Medical and Dental Council.
The Medical and Dental Council has not withdrawn my license.
No. There was a point, and a suspension be. And
they rather suspended it because I advertised a hernia drawing on my facility.
Around simply because of hernia, no minim or minim baby or monko. And I draw hernia or my billboard so because now my clinic no matter.
People were dying around my Mataheko facility, so they thought I caused it.
I say obiti clinic ninchen wa na hernia kuno. Ntina mentiasi. And I draw hernia or my billboard so.
So based on that drawing, the Medical Council, without any fair hearing, suspended my license.
Fair hearing. And now so must suspend me 3 years. But
around 2011, I was suspended as a doctor for 3 years, but it was revoked after my lawyers appealed the suspension.
2011 or 2012. But my lawyers are police suspension. Suspension.
But my license has not been revoked.
Based on hernia, and now we can say advert as I'm running norm say
Just to put on record, Dr. Obeng Ando is on trial for the death of Stacey Ofei-Darko. Well, one of his clients, Nana Frema, has also been explaining why she got her body transformed, endorsing the craft of the man standing trial.
Depending on what you might call under the procedure once, but I had been there several
procedure at the end.
Advanced body sculpt.
What were advanced body sculpt?
I lost my body As me, you know, me losing my curves, Nina, me from me Cassia, me too, sigh, me too bomb, yes. Me too bomb, and I'm thinking of whom I'm not for my dinner, because I'm just saying anymore. So I became very depressed and frustrated. Needing into me doctor. Na me susuma some hocherno. And he said, okay, he can do this for me. Inti yeshishe bibia na time na so ya. I was a menkwe na me kokoye. Yes, and it was successful. I was more than satisfied. Really? Yes, because I did not know that I was going to even get that result. Oh. Exactly. Okay, yes, that's here, right, doctor? Me, so for some few hours now, a drew time I was say yesterday to me. Sorry, you know, no, my sister.
Now, what is that?
I never, mama. Like, what is going on? Miss me, whom cry.
Oh, yeah, fat transfer, maybe.
Pacho, you.